We're not sure how well this is working, so I'm putting on my booming voice. I'd like to welcome you. This is, I believe, our 5th annual tourism forum that we made a decision as a chamber a number of years ago, with tourism being our primary industry in the area, that we wanted to do an event each year that would help the community become more informed about trends happening, what the LTDA was doing. This year we decided to take a slightly different approach to it in light of the fact that we knew we had upcoming changes taking place on Highway 50, and we had this little tiny event coming to our community called the Amgen Tour of California. I hope you understand that we made this change, and we hope that tonight will be beneficial for you. My name is Bea Gorman, for those of you who don't know me, and I am with Tahoe Chamber, and I have, I guess, good news and bad news in that Carol Chaplin, who's the executive director for the LTDA, will not be with us tonight, but my reason to share with you will explain to you a little bit about Amgen. AEG, which is the name of the company that produces the event, is in town, and she didn't know they were coming to town. So they've appeared, and she is with other members of the local organizing committee, meeting with them this afternoon and tonight and all day tomorrow. So she sends her apologies to you, and I am confident that the staff that are here tonight will do an excellent job of being able to present the information that you need. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to some guest presenters we have this evening, who are going to talk to you about the changes that are coming on Highway 50. So I would like to introduce Deanna Schupman, and Deanna is the Tahoe Basin Outreach Coordinator for Caltrans, and Ann Staines, who has the most fun name. She is the Chief Marketer with a company named ProPros, and ProPros was hired by Caltrans to do the public relations work around the Highway 50 closure and other construction projects. So please join me in welcoming Deanna and Ann.
Thank you all for coming out. We're very excited to share the progress we're making on the Highway 50 project. And we also have another little project we want to talk about first that's going to actually start before the Highway 50 Summit program, and that's the Trout Creek to Ski Run Boulevard. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. As soon as we figure out the technical information. Okay. Okay, the first one is the Trout Creek to Ski Run Boulevard. And that project you can see on this map here is number 2. On your map, it's number 11. That project is going to improve, collect, and treat stormwater runoff as part of Lake Tahoe's environmental improvement program, the EIP. And it also has some additional features of that, which is new sand traps, vaults, and infiltration basins. Other features that you'll probably be excited to hear about: it'll widen the shoulders to 6 feet, allowing for a Class 2 bike lane. It will improve the roadway cross slope, which engineers and all of you, I'm sure, will be very excited about. There will be new intersection signals, ADA sidewalks. It'll add pedestrian lighting. There'll be landscaping and streetscaping, and technical difficulty that is being overcome by relinquishing state route right away from back of the curb. The cost of the program for the construction is $22 million. The right-of-way was $4.7 million, and it was funded by a combination of things that you can see here, and which also included the right-of-way dedications provided from local agencies that total more than $4.4 million. No, I did. You were on a roll. I was on a roll. Okay, the groundbreaking will be on Tuesday the 26th from 1 to 2 p.m. and you're all invited. We'll have a press conference. We'll have various dignitaries there, etc. It'll be at the campground there at Rufus Allen Boulevard in South Lake Tahoe. And you'll be able to learn a little bit more about the project there. The other project that I'm sure you've heard a little bit about is the Echo Summit closure. We're actually trying not to use the word closure as much as possible. We're talking about the alternate route, particularly as when we are talking to people down the hill about it. Up here, it seems that everyone's talking about closure. First and foremost, this is a safety project. You've probably all seen the condition of the rock wall barrier. It has decayed over the years since it was built in the 1930s. It's been run into. We have sandbags. There's K-rail blocking parts of it. It's not as high as it needs to be because it was built for Model Ts, not for big rig trucks. So it's definitely in need of repair, and we're very excited that that's finally about to happen. It's also secondarily a water quality project. There will be drainage inlets and line culverts replaced. It's part of our 5-year overall Tahoe Roads program. You can see a little bit, we've got the pictures going around so you can see more up close to the current rock wall condition there. And to really create a more solid structure there, there will be an underlayment that will be laid in the outside lane, which the new wall will be anchored to. So as a big truck is going over it, the big truck will be holding down that underlayment and giving the wall even more support. The new wall that you see there, that's a simulation. It doesn't look like rock wall. It's actually concrete that is being formed to simulate rock wall and will be painted, and there's three different agency review committee to make sure it really looks like old rock, because we don't want it looking like new rock. There is such a thing as new rock, I'm not sure. Our outreach goals for the campaign, Caltrans has invested quite a bit of money into making sure everyone, number one, knows about it, and number two, to encourage people to continue to come up to South Lake Tahoe even during the alternate route. So primarily redirecting traffic around the Echo Summit closure to Highway 40, this is coming up the hill, to Highway 49 to 88 to 89 along that alternate route. Also reducing the economic impact on businesses such as yours in the South Lake Tahoe area is a very important component, and I'm sure if you've seen the brochures there in front of you, that is the message of our campaign all across Northern California. We are spending money on television, radio, you'll see a whole list of things, to encourage people to still visit the South Lake Tahoe and just talk about how the alternate route is a wonderful way to get there. The campaign and the website focus on the sites along the way, but it's all about on the way to South Lake Tahoe. The other thing that, let me back up a second, the other thing that you saw there on your seats is, and you may have had it emailed to you also, is an opportunity for you to feature special offers during the Echo Summit project for your business. And those can be linked directly onto the Way to Tahoe website. So if you're interested in doing that, you can fill out that form and send it back to us as indicated on there. If you want to give it to me tonight, that's fine too. You can also, if you are a tweeter or a Facebook fan for your business and would like to do some viral networking or social marketing, social networking that way, we can spam you or like you on our Facebook page and vice versa. You send a tweet out about the program and we'll do the same about you. Here you can see the alternate route. People coming south from the East Bay area or from Stockton will be directed to just go up Highway 88. Otherwise, the people coming up 50 in this area will be directed down 49 and around to 88 and 89. Here is the extent of the closure area. It begins at North Echo Summit Road and ends at Echo Summit Road. One thought that I do want to mention here, and that is if you have employees who live on the other side of the summit who need to be able to get to work on this side of the summit, there is going to be the possibility for getting a pass. You have to be able to show that you work on one side and live on the other, or you go to school on, maybe their children go to school on one side and live on the other, and in which case there will be passes for Johnson Pass Road. It's still not going to be a picnic because it's going to be a one leg, and this is all still in the works. It's not, have a definite on Monday, but that's what Caltrans is working toward. Caltrans is negotiating, let's say, with the Forest Service.
Under discussion.
Under discussion, yes. The timing, the full closure will start sometime in May. It's all weather dependent. We need a 10-day window of workable weather. So we're watching the 15-day forecast going out on a daily basis to see how it's looking, but we're not up to the period of time yet that would give us a big enough window to be able to tell. The target audiences for the campaign, regional outreach includes Sacramento, Stockton, Modesto, and the Bay Area. We're targeting all drivers heading to South Lake Tahoe, tourists, business travelers, second homeowners, etc. Businesses both in the South Lake Tahoe area and businesses along the alternate route, as well as messages to the Reno, Carson City area, and of course here in the basin. The messages are, it's a safety imperative, number one, to replace the rock wall. It's a special way to get to Lake Tahoe, and then information about the alternate route that encourages visitation. That it's just for 2 weeks. Now there will be 6 weeks of alternating one-way lane closure after that. We're really not talking about that a great deal down the hill because we really want people to focus on this is just a 2-week window, and you still can get through on 50 during the 6-week one-way alternating. And the 6 weeks is only Monday through noon on Friday, so weekends will be open. We're also really letting them know that anytime there are issues on Highway 50, that this alternate route is a nice way to get here. Any information that you want to give to other people, or if you're curious, just go to waytotahoe.com. If you're a fan of ours, you'll get regular updates. If you are, as I mentioned, if you use Twitter, you'll get updates that way. You can also sign up for daily email blasts during the event. So anytime there's any change, you'll be updated through email. Our paid media includes Sacramento, Stockton, Modesto, Bay Area, Reno, Carson City, on the Tahoe Basin with radio traffic announcements, television, newspaper, electronic billboards. We're on some online TripAdvisor sites, TV weather sponsorships, as well as Trucking Association publications. And then, of course, earned media through press releases, media advisories, embedded traffic reports. The traffic reporters are going to be talking about this because we've negotiated that up front. So they'll be actually giving out the Way to Tahoe website during their traffic reports and press conferences. Also, we have posters and flyers in all AAA offices throughout Sacramento and the Bay Area. California Welcome Center will have a big poster, and the rest stop, area rest stops as well. Truck stops will have information for truckers, and we're getting information out to local area schools, and we're also going to be doing some direct mail within the basin. 511.org in the Bay Area has stepped up and is allowing us to do a phone blast out to everyone who's a member of who uses their services, as well as getting information out through their Twitter and Facebook. We've lined up radio interviews in English and Spanish, met with traffic reporters in the Bay Area as well as Sacramento, and Caltrans has changeable message boards that will help to direct the travelers so that they can't get lost. Presentations such as this we've been doing for quite some time now and continue to do so, as well as a great deal of other outreach that you can see here. I won't bother boring you with that list, but you can read it there. As I mentioned, the waytotahoe.com includes project updates, alternate route map, traffic cameras. Caltrans is installing a camera at the project site, so you can go online and check on the progress. There's also information on the website about the alternate route, the history of the area. There's a video tour of the alternate route, and special offers that I mentioned to you. And here are the ways I mentioned that you can sign up for updates. So do you want to wait and have questions at the very end or now?
I think we can do the presentation. Thank you very much, Deanna and Ann. We appreciate that. And now if I could ask Allison Green to come up and join us. Allison works with the LTVA, and so she's going to give you some additional information and updates on the Amgen Tour of California.
Thank you, Bea, for the introduction. Again, my name is Allison. I'm fairly new to town and both to the LTVA, but I know that I have been in front of many of you and have also been on the radio and TV quite a bit. So if you haven't had a chance to speak face-to-face, please afterwards introduce yourself, because I'm definitely here to make sure that everybody understands what this bike race is all about. So the Amgen Tour of California is in its 6th year and is a multi-stage professional cycling race. So anyone who's familiar with the Tour de France and other similar events, this race mirrors that in the sense that they are professional racers and they come from all over the world and will be spending many days traveling through the state of California as they try to win their yellow jersey, their race jersey. So we've got the race that actually begins in South Lake Tahoe, starts at the top, Sunday, May 15th. So we've got May 5th listed up there because we've got a 10-day countdown. I'll talk about a little bit later. We like to do it right and do it as long as we can up here in Tahoe. So we've got all kinds of activities planned around this event. But the day of the race itself will start stage 1, Sunday, May 15th. Again, this is the Tahoe Basin has been awarded the overall start for the race this year. And you can see that not only do we have the overall start at state line on Sunday, May 15th, but the stage 1 finish also occurs Sunday, May 15th at North Star at Tahoe, and then Monday, May 16th at Squall, the stage 2 start. So we've got quite a few features to the race right here in the Tahoe Basin.
Testing strength, will, and passion, all in search of victory. The best in the world will come from all corners to prove their mettle. Legends, testing their strength against opponents, teammates, and themselves. And the path will be lined with millions, all come to bear witness to greatness and see history in the making. And for 8 days, the best that California has to offer will be experienced by the riders, the spectators, and the world. Struggles overcome, and 1,000 victories achieved, only one will emerge, and he will be called champion.
showed, this is a global event. It attracts teams and riders from all over the world. We're expecting worldwide coverage. In addition to thousands that make up the media and entourage, we've got mechanics, nutritionists, and things like that that will accompany these riders, and then spectators. This event, the Amgen Tour of California, holds the record in the state of California for the largest sporting event, with over 2 million on-site spectators throughout the 8 stages of the race. So we are anticipating conservatively about 35,000 the weekend of the race right here in Tahoe on the South Shore. And we just want to make sure that everybody understands the magnitude and the scope and scale of the race so that you can prepare if you're a business member in our community. And if you are only looking to be a resident of Tahoe, you understand also kind of some of the traffic delays that we can incur and things like that so that you can best participate in this event. So we've got news that's coming in pretty much every day, and unfortunately we can't answer all of your questions every time we see you because sometimes we just don't know. The best ways to find the most current and up-to-date information regarding the tour is amgentourcalifornia.com, or for local race-related news, we've got these 4 online resources: Tahoe AmgenTourCalifornia.com, TahoeSouth.com. We've got a Facebook account, and then also LTVA.org has all kinds of resources available to members in our community. So once you get to LTVA.org, this is what you're going to see. And on the left-hand side, about halfway down, is opportunities. And if you click on that, you'll see some of the opportunities that we have available as resources. There are retail opportunities that exist. So if carrying start at the top official logo wear is something you're interested in, go ahead and download one of these. All we have available right now are t-shirts. I've heard there's men's and women's, long sleeve and short sleeve, and that's all explained on the retail order form. And then also there's a limited supply of start at the top Lake Tahoe participation ride jerseys. So we've got those as well. We have a welcome logo. There's some decals out front. They're little static things that go in your window, either your car or your storefront or home. And they don't leave a residue, so make sure you grab one of those on your way out. And then we also have the welcome logo that you can download and apply to your website. So if anybody comes to visit, they'll see just kind of a uniformity that we're here and we're aware and that we really want to make the best of this event and show what Tahoe has to offer. This place was chosen because there's a lot of unique characteristics. Not only do we have beautiful geography, but diverse terrain that'll really challenge the riders. And we also have a lot of unique people who chose to make Tahoe their homes. And so for a lot of reasons, the tour chose the Tahoe Basin as the overall start. And we just have created this image, this logo, so that we can kind of put our best foot forward and really identify ourselves as a beautiful, unique place. And then we also have under opportunities a template. And this is something, if you are offering a special, a lodging package, things like that, you're allowed to come and blast this to your database and just include your special and let them know, let your clients know and your customer base know that there's a really great reason to come to Tahoe in May. I haven't, this will be my first May at Tahoe. I've heard that it's kind of our shoulder season, otherwise known as the mud season. And so as things tend to slow down, this is a great opportunity to remind them, you know, we don't really slow down here in Tahoe. We've got one more event, one more reason for you to come up here. And people want to come, it's a beautiful place. So this is available as well for you guys to kind of help share the synergy and the excitement and the enthusiasm, and also let your client base know that we've got the race going on the weekend of the 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th. We do have additional media exposure in addition to being online. We've got print, online television, and radio. And so those things are being broadcast both locally, regionally, and to cycle-specific media sources, so all of the publications and things like that will go out. And I thought I was really slick and had my radio tag in there, but apparently it's not going to play. We do have radio and TV spots available too, so if you have something like the gym where you've got in-house TVs, or some of the lodging properties I know have their in-house TVs, we've got that available. Again, just another way to alert your clients that there's this great reason, this rare opportunity, this exciting sporting event that is coming to the Tahoe Basin. Getting back to the dates, I don't want to confuse anybody. The race itself does start on Sunday, May 15th. And we've got an entire weekend of race-related activities, but we're not just stopping there. We're actually going to start as early as the 5th, so Cinco de Mayo. And these, a lot of them are South Shore specific. And so Thursday, May 5th, we've got the VIP kickoff party at Hard Rock Cafe and Casino that has a local charity component. And proceeds from that party are going to be providing bikes for underprivileged youth in our community. Friday, May 5th, we've got donation yoga classes. Andrew Homan is a local who recently published his first book, Life in the Slipstream, which is a professional cycling book, book about a professional cyclist, Bobby Walmart Sr., so he's going to be doing his book launch. We've got film screenings. There's a slow roller spirit parade on the 12th. Barton has added a lecture to their health lecture series, Pedaling to Peak Performance, so they'll be talking about nutrition and injury prevention, ways to train, things like that. And then Friday, May 13th, we have the race opening gala and official team introduction at Mont Bleu. Tickets are still available for that. It's a great way to actually view the riders up close. While they've announced the teams online, they have not announced the riders yet. And so getting the first glimpse of the riders is something you're interested in. The gala is a great way to experience that. And we also have some opportunities associated with the gala if you're looking for exposure for your business. We've got products and services that you'd like to expose to a global audience. Saturday, May 14th, start at the top Lake Tahoe Legends Participation Ride. So any of you who know First Fawn, I know a lot of you do, Bike the West has added a participation ride into their series of events. And so Saturday, May 14th, you can actually pedal like a pro and don your spandex and do a lap around the lake just like they would be doing on the following day. The Lake Tahoe Expo Festival is a 2-day event right here on South Shore, and that is where we can showcase some of the best Tahoe has to offer. So Horizon has opened up the breezeway and will be providing some entertainment, and we've also got some food and beverage and some retail opportunities still available, and also just a great place to go. The riders themselves, and I'll get to the map in a little bit, are going to be doing a lap and a half around the lake. So normally in a start city, you would get out there and be really excited, send the riders off, and then look for something to do the rest of the day. And here in Tahoe, because they're doing a lap and a half around the lake, we get to do all that, and then we get to do it again when they come back through a few hours later. So we really want businesses to understand the unique opportunity that they have to do some entertaining, and to do some hosting, and to retain those potential customers while these riders are traveling around the lake before they make their second appearance here on the South Shore. And the Expo is just one of those ways. We've got some other things going on. Rick Gunn, I just had the pleasure of meeting him. He is going to be doing Soul Cycler around the World Bike Tour presentation. And so Rick actually is one of those guys we all long to be, where he rides his bike around the world, taking pictures and makes a living out of it, doing a lot of connecting with people and then relating that back to his bike and how that all happens, kind of in this synergy again. So that's a great thing to go check out that evening. And then again, Sunday, May 15th is kind of the day when Amgen will kick off their race, their 8 days. With the race start, that's going to be right at the State Line Casino corridor, start about 10:30 in the morning. And again, we've got all kinds of activities that day as well, because like I said, the riders will be making the 2 passes through South Shore. And so there's a route festival. The city has really stepped up and been a huge participant in this event, and have donated about 15 tents to nonprofits, and so those will be staged along Lake Tahoe Boulevard, and they'll just be kind of contributing to this party atmosphere that we hope we can really do well. Again, some other activities, BMX demos that Lauren Tomaselli has worked really hard on, and then heading up towards North Star is where the race will finish, the Stage 1 race, and they've got a festival happening up there. Amgen is a cancer research company, facility, and so cancer is one of the things that they kind of focus on as far as helping find a cure. So there are some starting events with kind of cancer champions, I guess, people who have survived and assisted and provided medical care to things like that. And then again, some of the Finnish cities will have breakaway from cancer events as well. And so North Star is one of those locations for a breakaway from cancer event at the end of the Stage 1 race. And then Monday, May 16th, we get to start Stage 2. Again, kind of getting back to the weekend itself, the meat and guts of it, Friday, May 13th is the opening gala. These flyers are located out front. They give the ticket prices, what you can expect as far as the program for the evening, and again, how to get additional information if that's something that you'd like to attend. And again, really see these riders up close. Again, Curtis Vaughn's participation ride. If you hop online, there's all kinds of links from all of those websites I showed earlier that will direct you here where you can register online. Rick Gunn's Soul Cycler event will happen at Mont Bleu Saturday that evening after the participation ride. And then the expo is both Saturday and Sunday, so again, a great way to get out there. Not only see some of your neighbors, but also maybe hit a very unique audience, because these spectators are kind of the demographic that we would hope to reach living here in an outdoor recreation destination. So again, we've got people that are going to be coming. They're aged 25 to 45. They oftentimes have college degrees and post-secondary degrees, and spend quite a bit of money on cycle-related travel. So I know, coming from Moab, which is another big bicycling area, these guys will spend $5,000 or so on a wheel set. That's not uncommon. So we want these guys up here enjoying some of the beautiful scenery and seeing what Tahoe offers, and hopefully wanting to come back. So again, the race itself starts on May 15th right here in the Tahoe Basin. They do the lap and a half around the lake, which you can see on this kind of enlarged lake map. And then for the next 7 days after that, will make their way down the coast of California, and then on Sunday, May 22nd, the entire race culminates in Thousand Oaks, California, which is the headquarters of Amgen. So there's all kinds of media coverage and exposure that will be associated with the tour, showcasing not only the Tahoe Basin, but also the rest of our beautiful state as these racers make their way down. So again, you can see on the stage 1 map, the riders will begin at State Line. They do a real quick parade route starting at 10:30, and that's not, I say real quick because we might like to see a little hand waving and handshaking, and I don't think that's going to happen. These guys are going to be spinning their wheels, really warming up, getting ready, getting prepared, and then once they cross State Line and start heading west along Lake Tahoe Boulevard, the race begins. It's a rolling start, and associated with the peloton, which you guys all saw in the video, that's that big group of riders. And in addition to that, their support crew, their vehicles, things like that. We have some rolling road closures that will occur with the race as well. And so we've got Caltrans and NDOT and the CHP and all of the officiators of California really helping out with the road system and making sure that this flows smoothly. And so they will be accompanying the peloton. They'll be in front of them and behind them. And as the riders approach certain intersections and driveways and things like that, that will be blocked off. So that will be the closure. Once the riders cruise through, and they're moving so quickly, their average speed I think is 28 miles per hour, and so if you blink, you miss them. And once they're gone, they reopen the intersection. So we will have very short road closures and some traffic delays, and we just want everybody to see the route, become familiar with it, know when those might be happening, and then plan your day accordingly. If you go to church or like to do your laundry, or it's a beautiful day, you decide that you're going to go have a picnic and need to hit up the grocery store for some sandwich stuff, just be aware that we do have 19 professional cycling teams with riders cruising through our streets right here in town. And so we just need you to understand that there are going to be some road closures that will open up throughout the day, and that they won't last all day, but they could cause some traffic delays. So again, just kind of focusing on the South Shore here. Sunday, May 15th, the race starts at 10:30 in the morning, State Line, California, Nevada. And they do 1.5 times with 2 passes through South Shore. There's a lot of firsts in Tahoe being the overall start. One of them is that we've got 19 professional cycling teams. That's the largest number of teams Amgen has ever experienced thus far. We also have the highest elevation start, and we've got the first time the tour will leave the state of California, because it does enter Nevada for a brief bit. And then the last one, the one that I think is really cool for us, is that the riders make the 2 passes through town. So again, those rolling closures. We expect the first pass to last about 11 o'clock. They'll be out of town, weather depending on traffic cooperating. And then again, because of these guys and how quickly they travel, we can anticipate them re-entering town around 1 o'clock. And again, that's just an approximation. But so those rolling closures, those traffic delays, those are kind of the times that you want to be paying attention to. And especially as a spectator, you want to make sure that you're out there on Lake Tahoe Boulevard. I guess this gets about 10 deep. So the earlier you're out there, the closer you can actually be to the action, because it does happen fast. These guys are professionals. And then getting back to the city and their tents, like I said, they will be staged through State Line to the Y area. All kinds of activities, parties. I know that there's a lot of food and beverage going on. There's going to be a lot of music. We were trying to get a couple of DJs to battle across the road yesterday as part of the planning committee for that. And then a lot of businesses have really stepped forward too and said, you know what? My business is right on Lake Tahoe Boulevard. I better plan something. I've got this huge parking lot. I'm going to throw a parking lot party. So really the best thing that you can do that day is to park somewhere and then get on your feet, get on your bikes, and really take part in this activity, this rare event. The fact that the entire town is coming together and opening its doors, putting the best foot forward, putting on their party hats, and maybe their spandex. I guess we could probably anticipate seeing a little bit of that in town. But again, all the way from State Line to the Y are going to be outdoor family fun activities and keep us occupied and engaged. And getting out and enjoying the day as we wait for the riders to come back around. So I'm wondering, how will you participate? Thank you.
Great job, Allison. Thank you. For those of you who are standing in the back, there are lots of empty seats up here. If you would like to move up, and then we'll start to take some questions for our speakers. Maybe we could turn lights back on. Maybe we could turn lights back on. Maybe. Thank you. So, anybody have questions for our speakers this evening? Lauren.
Yeah, about how much longer will that detour be? After the 2-week closure?
The question was about how much longer will the detour be? There'll be a 2-week period of time when the detour is official, and that's when during the closure. After that, for the 6 weeks, Caltrans is not telling people that they have to take the alternate route. They can still take 50, but it will be encouraged if the delays are lengthy. And that would maybe up to 6 weeks.
35 miles. Yeah, I wonder how much longer the drive is. Yeah.
So some of you know that I used to do that drive every weekend, and I will tell you many, many weekends from the Bay Area, I took that alternate route, and I took it because it's faster when you don't have to sit in traffic. I know you don't believe me, but it's true. I did it every weekend. So it's about, depending where you're going in the Bay Area, it's 25 to 35 miles longer, but if it's a time when there's traffic on Highway 50, which we often have, it can actually be shorter. So I think what we want to encourage our guests to understand is that it's scenic, there's great places to stop, they can go have lunch at the Kirkwood Inn, they can stop in Myers and grab a burrito on their way out of town. We want to try to highlight the positive part of this, that it's an interesting route, it's scenic, there's great places to stop, they'll discover some new things that they haven't experienced before.
And you have to first cardio.
Yes, and it's a great motorcycle ride too, I can tell you that as well. Other questions? Yes, sir.
Is it going to be shut down on the first day of the construction? Have two weeks of dead shutdown,
Yes.
then opening up?
Yes.
24 hours a day.
Completely closed for 2 weeks.
And I think we should mention, because I don't think it got mentioned earlier, that the contractor is being given an incentive to shorten that 2-week time period. So he is being given a $150,000 a day incentive up to 4 days, $600,000, to shorten that window from 14 days to 10 days. And I think all of us would agree that that's a rather enticing incentive. We understand he has never turned an incentive down. In other words, he's always been successful. So I think we have good reason to believe that he will be successful in our case as well. Jen?
What happens if the 6th week, when it's going to the one-way, what happens if that falls on 4th of July weekend, which is on a Monday?
For the one-way traffic controls,
Yeah,
they won't do it during the weekend.
okay.
They'll stop on Friday at noon.
Okay, and that, like, it would resume after the 4th of July, like on that Tuesday?
Yes.
And not until midnight on Tuesday? Maybe on Saturday?
Right, it would be probably noon on Tuesday.
The initial communication was that the 2-week period could start anytime between the 24th and, sometime in May, 24th of April. And then, as the week go, it's gonna be anytime after May 1st or 2nd.
It states in the contract, the contractor can start anytime from April 15th, as early as April 15th.
Okay, so.
That's what it states in the contract.
It happens tomorrow.
No. The contractor, we already know that it's not gonna start until at least the first week of May.
Okay, so was it weather that was deciding factor?
No, the window, the other thing here is that the contractor had to be ready to start as early as April 15th, and that was put in the contract so that all bidders had to adjust to that. And then the contractors had to decide how they were going to approach it, what work they needed to do in anticipation, in advance of the closure, and actually, it's all weather dependent as well. So they were not obligated to start the closure on the 15th. That was the earliest they could start it, and the closure could start anytime from that point on through May. And again, it's weather dependent. But nothing has changed. We're completely on schedule for that.
If it doesn't start the 1st of May, could it start the 5th of May?
Could start May 3rd.
They would not start it on Memorial Day weekend. It will be open during Memorial Day weekend. We do have,
My question really is there any way to have him move back so he doesn't?
It's all weather driven. Looking stuff at the 10-day window period for weather.
we do have, we've given all of you a brochure. If you have a business where you have retail traffic and would like to put some of these out, we have quite a few packages of them. I'll put them on the table outside so you can grab some on your way out the door.
I have an alternate form of transportation. Can I make a shameless plug?
Very quick, please.
So I'm Dave Curiari. We have an air taxi service that flies into both Lake Tahoe Airport and Amgen Airport. So I very much appreciate if you spread the word to your clients and friends that we would be happy to take them over the road closure. I have a
What happens if that, maybe look at this?
I think we all know it's gonna happen, it's just a matter of when it happens, so. I think the most important thing for all of us to walk out of here with tonight is that we have to have a positive attitude about it. As business owners, as community citizens, we have to communicate positively to everybody we can that this is a safety issue, it was an improvement in our community, it needs to be done, and we're going to get it over with as quick as we can, and in the interim, let's help people discover all the wonderful, authentic things that exist in our region, and I know it sounds Pollyannish, but we kind of don't have much choice. We can be negative, or we can embrace it and say this is positive, and how do we help our visitors have a better experience? And I think there's a lot of wonderful things for them to experience if we share that with them.
I have two questions. One, are they going to let bikes go over the road when it's closed? Are customers asking now?
No one.
What about diverting around through Echo?
The only way you're gonna get through Echo Summit is, well, I'm working on a plan right now. It's a discussion. I'll have the final paperwork done by Monday, about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, if it passes or not. And what we'll do is issue passes to people that are going to and from work or to and from school.
Okay, but no cycling over the pass. Two, has there been any discussion about perhaps, even if the road closure starts on the 6th, not having it closed for the weekend of Amgen? Because it's definitely affecting whether people's plans can come here already.
The 2-week period that it has to be closed, and we can't reopen it once they close it. Once it's closed, it's closed for 2 weeks.
So I just asked Curtis if he would mind saying a word to you about the ride that he's producing on Saturday, the 14th. I think it's a great opportunity, again, for you to do outreach to your regular customers, particularly those people who come to our community for recreation. Let them know Amgen's going on. If they're serious cyclists, they might want to come and do the event on Saturday. So just going to ask him to tell you a little bit more about it.
Thanks, Pete. You know, just like America's Most Beautiful Bike Ride that we've been doing for 20 years here at Lake Tahoe, that's the first Sunday in June, and the 9th year we're doing Tour de Tahoe, Bike Big Blue around Lake Tahoe, 72-mile ride. The Tahoe Legends ride is not a ride for pro riders. We have some ex-pro riders that will be there, and that is the enticement, such as John Howard, who is a former Ram, Race Across America. He's written books. He's set the world speed record in terms of riding a bicycle. So we have legends there to ride elbow to elbow. But it is a tour. Anybody that wants to ride around Lake Tahoe, 72 miles, just like our other rides that we produce during the year, it's the same type of ride. It's a tour. People ride at their own pace. It's fully supported with rest stops, food and beverage at various stops along the way, including lunch. And then back at the finish line, a pasta party with live entertainment. Everything that we normally do with America's Most Beautiful Bike Ride and Tour de Tahoe. So if you have cycling enthusiasts that come and frequent your properties or are on your email list or have come and done our rides, do in fact reach out to them and let them know this is not a professional race in any way. It's one lap around the lake at their own pace and fully supported. Even to the point, if you get tired, we have SAG vehicles that pick you up and transport you to the next rest stop or to the finish. So a fully supported tour for everybody. And all levels, we do offer the 72-mile ride, as well as the boat cruise and 35-mile ride, which is on the Tahoe Queen, taking you and your bike across the lake to just ride the last 35 miles back. And we have for guests and families a non-biking boat cruise that they can enjoy riding over on the boat and coming back. And they get everything else that all the riders get. A welcome packet from Lake Tahoe, a t-shirt, they get a wristband, an event number, an event pin, an event water bottle, all included in the fee. So it's just like, it's not like anything different from our normal rides we've been doing around Lake Tahoe. It is a tour, and everybody rides at their own pace.
What's the answer? What's the answer?
Each piece, $125.
Other questions for our speakers this evening? Yes, sir.
Two questions. We talked about parties and the parking lots, etc. What's the permit situation relative to those?
As we understand it, and there's someone here from the city who will likely correct me if I'm wrong, but as we understand it, you can go ahead and do what you would like to do in your parking lot. Like if you want to do an event for your guests and, you know, invite them to bring their lawn chair and their picnic basket and come and sit in your parking lot and watch the ride go by, that you're able to do that, much like, you know, a lot of people do for the fireworks.
This is non-sold.
Yes, yes. And then there are tents that were made available to the nonprofits in the community by the city of South Lake Tahoe, and those are being placed strategically throughout the community in businesses' parking lots, and those nonprofits are working with the city, and they will be able to, you know, sell hot dogs or hot chocolate or whatever they're working through.
Okay,
Did I speak okay, Patrick? Did I miss anything, Patrick or Lauren? And they're gone, they're spoken for, they're gone.
I'll say something in addition to that. Lauren Tomaselli, City South Lake Tahoe Special Events Coordinator. I've been working closely with Allison, and we've been meeting with any business along Highway 50 who would like to host a special event and invite us to discuss different, opportunities to draw attention to your business. And there will be a map produced outlining all of those businesses and the events that they're doing that will be available, online, and we could highlight your business on that map if you would like to, celebrate the day with a special event.
I have one other question. I agree with all you said about being positive, et cetera, but I'm still curious what special considerations might come into play if we have snow on May 15th.
Well, all I can tell you is the Chamber of Commerce has put it in order for a sunny day. The race officials, which we are not, any of us here today, that event is coordinated by a company called AEG, which is where Carol is tonight with them. And they do have a weather contingency plan, but I don't have that information. I'm sorry, I can't tell you any more than that. I just know that they very clearly discussed it and have one.
Will there be a special bus route going up and down 50 or trolley car? Or?
That's actually what we were just talking about. So I just met Steve with Bluego and asked him the same question because I know that's been a common one is where can we park and are there going to be shuttles and is Bluego going to be impeded by this? And so while Lake Tahoe Boulevard itself is closed, and again, we're talking about 18 to 35 minutes is what we've been told by Caltrans as far as typical road closures as these guys race through our streets. So it's not a huge day-long or week-long or anything like that. It's just it's a few minutes. And so once those roads reopen, to the best of our knowledge, Bluego will continue to run normal bus lines. However, again, when that road is closed by Caltrans, there will not be any vehicular traffic, only the bikes and their support crews, which I guess they have vehicular traffic, their side crews and things like that. But commercial traffic, private traffic, things like that will not be on the roads moving as these riders go through while the road is closed. Once it's reopened, they can't be. So you might be on the bus on the side of the road waiting for these riders, which would give you a huge opportunity to see them. But again, might delay some of your plans for that day. But once that road is reopened, once the riders leave town and they're making their way around the lake, we do expect that Bluego will be running their normal routes.
Would it be an idea just for that day to have a bus route up and down 50 where people can hop on and hop off and stop these businesses?
You know what, I don't know because I'm not a Bluego representative, I would be able to answer that one as far as public transportation. I do know that the local organizing committee has been working on identifying parking areas and really encouraging a lot of foot and pedal traffic. So kind of think of some of the ways that you can get out and enjoy your neighborhood and your community without being in your car. I know that a lot of the public and private parking lots will be accessible for the race itself. And again, we're just kind of encouraging people to really take part in these. We're talking about businesses that are right next door to each other, across the road from one another. I think to drive would be a little more cumbersome than finding an alternate way to kind of enjoy some of the activities and festivities that will be going on.
I understand encouraging businesses to take advantage of the parking lots for either private parties or if you're even charged for spectator space. Will there be considerations to tell people, how do I put it, will the county easement that is technically possessed by our county and state roads, will that be free space versus somebody saying, this is my section of the block and we're having a private party there? We're just suggesting people to find places to sit and spectate without being, told to go on to the next area.
We have about 500 volunteers that are going to be stationed throughout the Tahoe Basin, and quite a few of those will be right here in South Shore. I think we've got, I just met with Sean the other day, and I think he was saying like 60% of them are going to be here in South Shore. Sean Sweeney is our local volunteer coordinator. And so they will be assisting with things like traffic control, pedestrian traffic, making sure that during the road closures, as the peloton goes through, that driveways are not being accessed either in or out. Just adding to the safety and the coordination of the way that town will work that day as we have this additional traffic on our road. And so I would imagine that when it comes to parking, part of the volunteer kind kind of pool and education that's going to be happening before we actually stick them out on the race course is kind of talking about some of those things. When it comes down to private and public lots and what's available there, again, that would be a discussion if a business was renting with the landlord or if they own their own, deciding what they want to do with it that day. We're not discouraging businesses, obviously, from offering their lot up for parking. I don't know if that answers your question.
I was talking more technically in foot traffic.
Again, that would be.
You find a parking spot, get out of your car, you want to go just sit on the side of the road. Since it is technically county easement, would or would it not be in the realm of a private business to say this is our section here?
I think some of the businesses are saying that this is our section as far as like, here's the grassy spot where I want to throw my blanket. There are some businesses that are saying, no, we're reserving this for our clients. And there's some that are saying, hey, we're having a big party, just come. So, and I know that Caltrans also has a lot more experience with this race than I do. And so they'll definitely be communicating and making sure that people understand where the availability is as we approach the race day. Yeah.
Will business owners on Highway 50 have to get permits from the city to do events out in front of their place? Like, say like Beauty Furniture Outlet wants to do a tent sale, but they have to get a permit every year to do that. Now, if somebody else, if he decides he wants to do something out in front of his place, not tent sale for furniture, but if he wants to do something out in front, does he have to get a city permit? Go through the permit processes and everything, and also extra banners? Will they be allowed to do extra signage?
I'm going to pass this one off to Laura since she's with the city.
So what the city's done is created a blanket special event permit for that day, May 15th, for the entire town. And that's why Allison and I are getting out on the town and encouraging businesses to contact us so that we can meet with them to share what some of the other businesses are doing, which is exactly what you're describing. And then that way we can put it on the map. And also, it is a day to display your banners. What we are discouraging is for people to start, setting up that party, 3 days in advance and 3 days after. We're talking about May 15th on the day of the race. That's when we are encouraging that festive atmosphere from one end of town to the other. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, and one extra to that. What happens if I decide I'm a furniture store or something, and I decide I want to do hot dogs and food products, and will I have to go to the food vendors? I mean, will I have to get a food license and everything for that day, or is that going to be flagged as well?
Yeah, I mean, the health and safety and alcohol, permitting is still in effect, like it would be on any other day. So, those type of things, you definitely, if a business has already has those kind of permits and is set up to do that, we are encouraging businesses to check with their own permitting agents to make sure that's all done, under those health and safety codes.
So I'm sorry, just real quickly, if I can kind of finish up here, because I think it ties in naturally. On the way to Tahoe.com site, there is a spot for businesses to kind of feature themselves in any kind of specials that they're running during the road closure. So if that does happen to fall during an event such as that, it's another just exposure opportunity, a way for you to say, hey, thanks, we appreciate that you're making that extra effort to take the scenic route. And so, however you would like to word it. So again, there's lots of incentives for being out there, being engaged, being active, and offering your services and business to potential clients and spectators and just your local neighbors as well.
Are bleachers being provided for spectators? Certain spots? Are you going to have bleachers?
There are some businesses that have decided to rent bleachers or acquire bleachers, and they will have those available. Again, that kind of falls back to the business and what their activities are planned for the day. And I have heard that they are on short order these days, so you might have to reach out a little farther than you normally would.
I think the important thing to remember is that the LTVA is not producing this event. The LTVA is a tourism destination marketing organization that is marketing this event. AEG is producing this event. So those sorts of things would fall under them rather than the LTVA. And I just think that's a good time to clarify that because I think that gets kind of blurred sometimes.
So is some organization putting banners throughout the town?
there's a lot going on, and so again, just like we said, LTVA is helping market this event. We're not doing any producing for it. It's already kind of a turnkey thing that Amgen does and AEG does, that we have been awarded part of that as the overall start. So if you've been by Heavenly Village or in the next couple of days as you cruise along Ski Run Boulevard, there are some pole banners that you'll start to recognize. I call this guy Scary Guy. And we've got some posters and flyers and takeaways that you guys can do. But Scary Guy is starting to show up all over town. We've also had some banners across Highway 50. And those are ways that the local community... But so there are some ways that the city and the local organizing committee has contributed towards the identification of this event, the promotion of this event. There's also some ways that local businesses have really stepped up and have created some signage along their marquee, over their windows, things like that. And a lot of it comes, again, back to coordinating with the permitting officials as far as what kind of activities you want to have for that day and things like that. We are doing what we can to make sure everyone is aware and informed that this event is going on. And so we, the LTVA and the city and the North Shore organizations that are partnering with us have done a lot as far as banners and signage and things like that. But again, we can't do it all. We need businesses to participate at their level as well. Yeah.
I own a sign shop here in town, and I've had clients ask about banners and logo on the Amgen logo. So I need to kind of know if we're allowed to use that logo for people that are going to be volunteering. Like, I already have the refuse company, they want shirts, and they want to know if they can use the logo. They're going to volunteer for the cleanup. So kind of need to know if we can use that logo.
Amgen Tour California is heavily trademarked and is off limits. The Start at the Top logo has been approved. You'll notice that Amgen Tour California and the little cycle guy has been approved for use in that mark as well. It's right up here in the corner, and again, we've got the decals. You'll start to see it all over town. That has also been approved by the tour for our local use. However, that is reserved for sponsors only. And so official sponsors, I guess I should say, and partners. So we have made it available, again, on the decals and some of the flyers and things like that you can take away. But as far as printing that, I would highly discourage it. It is trademarked. Yeah. But that's not to say you couldn't do your own unique bike thing and get the theme going. Yeah. Yeah.
What's the likelihood of this becoming an annual event? I mean, what thresholds have to be met the first year to make this a running?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've had a lot of communication with former host cities because people have been saying, when can we expect traffic and lodging and things like that, and how many people really do come. And so one of the things that they have said is that it's fairly unpredictable. The official start city for the tour next year has already been announced, and so we're out of the run for that, and they have not put out their requests for other host cities for next year. Once that happens, the cities can begin submitting their requests, and again, it's up to the tour to determine where they want to go. Part of it is the terrain and the way that they would route it. Part of it, again, is city participation and things like that. But we live in beautiful Tahoe, so once that request is out there, I'm sure that we'll be considering it again, because biking is awesome. It's going to be awesome. I know. That's kind of our motto around the office, is that this is awesome.
I do want to tag that, though, with saying that those of you who have had a chance to look at the prosperity plan will recognize that this type of an activity aligns with the strategies that were recommended in the prosperity plan, which in essence says we should be focusing on our unique assets, what's authentic about our destination, what makes us special, and recreational opportunities are clearly one of those unique assets, and most would say the singular biggest one. So the world is looking at us. We want to use this to entice other events to come here and to entice other visitors to come here who want to enjoy our beautiful environment and do so with touching the land lightly. So I think we look beyond just Amgen and how does this set a precedent for us into the future. Curtis figured that out years ago and has been doing it for a long time. So.
I was trying to get a picture of what 35,000 people means.
You too?
And yeah, so the only thing I can think of to use for scale would be 4th of July. Do we have any idea of what, like a weekend day, one day of 4th of July, what kind of numbers that produces?
It's a lot more than 35,000. I think Carol would be better able to answer that than I am. Unfortunately, we don't have any way of measuring when people come into the basin. We don't have a toll booth anywhere. We don't have an accurate way of doing it, but I know that they have estimates, and I can tell you July 4th is significantly more people over the course of the weekend than this will be. So I think we should be looking at that kind of traffic, because people should be able to get around and experience everything there is to experience.
And I'm sure we're all hoping that the businesses will get their brooms out and clean up the landscapes throughout the whole town.
Yes.
Make this place settle.
And I also promised TRPA, for those of you who were at the last workshop we did, when we talked about banners, that the businesses would be very good about taking down their banners after the event and cleaning up, because I got a phone call. So I promised them that I knew everybody would do that.
Along those same lines, what's being done for Highway 50 and gravel and sand and that kind of stuff?
I think that's, again, back to the race organizers, and Caltrans works with the race organizers throughout the entire state, so I think they've got a plan. I think they're, we're not engaged at that logistical level. That's really back to producing the event, but since they've been doing this for years, and they do it in 8 cities every year, I feel pretty comfortable telling you that they've got a plan and that they're organized. So, any other burning questions before we wrap it up and call it an evening? I want to thank all of you for coming. I'd like to especially thank Deanna and Ann for driving up. They drove a long way to be with us tonight, so thank you ladies for coming. And
Thank you for
Allison.
inviting us.
Quick question. The advertisements with the way to Tahoe,
Yes.
is that something that needs to be turned in tonight, or is there a fax?
No, not at all. As soon as you get it to us, then we will get posted the information, send it preferably by email.